Welcome back. Halloween is just around the corner, and no doubt you've already eaten some shop-bought barmbrack.
But why not try your own at home? And Patrick Ryan from the Firehouse Dalgany Bakery.
Is that near the Firehouse
Bakery in Dalgany is here with a fancy take on the traditional brack. Not my favourite thing in the world to eat, Patrick, but you're going to change my mind, aren't you?
We'll give it a go.
Right.
Yeah, so barmbrack, perfect this time of year. It's very traditional. It's actually very traditional Irish bread. It comes from the Irish barmbrack, which basically means speckled loaf.
Right.
So it's a sweet yeasted dough. It's filled typically with dried fruit. So we're just going to change up a little bit. So we are going to be using some whiskey and a little bit of Earl Grey tea.
Whiskey and Earl Grey, what a lovely combo.
Yeah, it works really, really well. And we're actually going to make a little whiskey glaze then, which we're going to brush all over it.
Can't wait.
I know. I'm not a huge barmbrack fan either.
Neither is he.
Okay. Why are we here today?
It's Halloween, baby!
But listen, plenty of households around the country absolutely love this.
Oh, yeah.
The staple, I suppose, around this time of year. And also, it's fun. You're still going to hide something.
It
in the
is.
middle,
Like,
aren't
it's
you?
got a lot of tradition. Like, I think a lot of people kind of forget that actually Halloween originated in Ireland. And it's kind of worldwide now. So it was actually traditionally, we kind of used like a fortune-telling game. So you would have had like a pea, a stick, a cloth, a ring, and depending on what you got, kind of dictated what your future was going to hold.
Oh, lovely.
I think it's
married
fun.
or not married.
But you know what? People have been turned off over the years because some of the shop-bought barmbracks are a little bit plastic and they're a bit synthetic tasting.
Well,
this is going to be delicious.
Yeah, so we're going to
make
show you how
anything
very
taste
easy
good.
it is to make.
What do we start with?
Now, so we've made plenty of kind of doughs here before. So this one's probably a little bit wetter than probably most people are used to. You can happily do it by hand. We're just going to make your life a little bit easier. So we've got a little mixer on here. I kind of got the good dough started because it just takes a couple of minutes to get together. So very simply, we got some strong flour. We're looking at 500 grams. Then we're using 50 grams of brown sugar, like a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, just for a little bit of spice. We're actually using some fresh yeast, so we're using about 10 grams of fresh yeast.
Okay.
If you don't have fresh, it's about 1 sachet of dried yeast, which is exactly about 7 grams. You'll get it in your supermarket, no problem at all.
Okay.
And then we're adding a little bit of flavour to our dough, using a little bit of orange zest.
Nice.
Just kind of a little citrus flavour to it.
They're lovely ingredients for the dough.
Very Christmassy.
Nice.
Cinnamon.
Yeah, so with
Cinnamon.
I'd say more Halloween.
Would you?
So, and then we're actually going to add some milk, so it's 300 mils of milk. So you'll always kind of find whether you're kneading by hand or kneading with a mixer, when it comes to an enriched dough, it always takes longer to come together.
Okay.
It just takes the dough a little bit of time to develop. That's why I just got this dough started. So very easy, just on kind of a medium speed with your mixer. You'll see kind of as the dough gently will start to pull away from the bowl.
Quite hypnotic. You still there? You still
Quite
with us?
therapeutic.
And then, right, so basically what we got in, we got our flour, our sugar, our salt, our cinnamon, all our wet ingredients. Let the dough come together, and then we're going to start dropping in our butter. So we got 150 grams of butter.
So is that at room temperature then?
Yeah, to be honest, using it cold is absolutely
Soft.
fine because we almost want to kind of knead it into the dough. We don't want it melted. We don't want it too soft at all. So just keep dropping it in, and you'll probably do it in 2 or 3 stages, just to let each butter take in, and then we'll move on to the next bit.
It's a slow process, isn't it?
You don't want to put on too much of a high heat because basically it'll generate too much heat. Your dough starts to heat up, and that in turn will actually affect the texture of your dough.
Okay, so nice and gentle.
So then, for our little fruit mix, you can use absolutely anything you want, whatever.
This is where you've lost us now. I'd happily eat this without
This is where Simon leaves.
But what have you marinated that, or have you soaked it in something?
Exactly. So we've got some raisins, some sultanas, some currants, a little bit of dry peel, and then I've soaked it overnight. Like generally, you could do it in advance; it'll keep no problem at all. Basically, just kind of brew some tea.
Yeah.
Let it soak it up, and then we'll give it a good shot of whiskey.
So whiskey and Earl Grey
tea
overnight.
Overnight, just to let it soak and take on that flavour.
You see, your interest has been piqued again.
Well, no, it hasn't.
So again,
I'm going to try it.
you'll kind of see with the dough as the butter is fully incorporated, we'll start
Alcohol is very
dropping
strong.
in our fruit. But again, we're going to probably just do it on a nice, gentle, low speed.
Okay.
Because basically we don't want to pulverise all the fruit. We want to keep the texture in.
Of course, you don't want it chopped completely. Yeah, lovely.
So you're going to be looking at least good 8-10 minutes for your dough to come together. Just be patient.
How much fruit are you putting in?
300 grams.
300.
Yeah, so we want to have a good texture fruit.
Is that 280 too much?
Well, that's about 295 grams too much for me. Carry on.
So then, once our dough comes together,
Yeah.
we're going to pop it into a bowl and we need to let it prove. To ferment.
Ta-da!
So, you'll find within rich doughs, you tend to prove much, much slower because basically you've got so much fat in it. Like we've got our butter, we've got our milk, it tends to prove slower. So you're looking at a minimum of 2 hours.
Okay.
So if you kind of find that you don't have a huge amount of time, this can always be done in advance. You can make this dough, pop it in the fridge and leave it there overnight.
And for 2 hours, would you leave it in the fridge as well? You need it to cool
So
down?
basically, say if you don't have enough time in the day, you can make it in the evening, pop it in the fridge, and leave it there all night. And then the next morning, you're straight back. So what we're doing...
So this is the fun part.
Yeah, so the yeast is you can knock that one off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So our yeast has got to work. Basically, it's breaking down the natural sugars that are in the dough. It's producing carbon dioxide, and your dough's beginning to rise.
I love watching the way this man handles the dough.
So we just want to
It makes
knock
it look so simple.
the air from our dough. So basically, we're stopping the cycle, and then we're going to create a new one.
And do you need to do this, or can you just...
Yeah, no, we do.
Okay.
Because we're going to prove it again. So if you can feel it, touch it, feel it. It's how lovely and soft it is. It's a really soft, wet dough, and that's exactly what we want to give that lightness.
And you're going to prove that again? For how long?
We're going to shape it again, and again, you're probably looking at another 2 hours.
Wow, okay.
So again, if you did it the night before, you pull it from the fridge.
A lot of love and time.
Well, as I say, if you don't fancy making it, just pop to our bakery, we'll sell you one.
Ah, there you go.
So you can kind of shape, you can use anything you want in terms of shaping it.
Well, the traditional would be the round.
Yeah, so exactly like what we kind of got here.
Let's go with that one. Yeah, lovely.
Just using a little cake tin. It's absolutely perfect.
Okay, great. So do you line the cake tin and just put it in some baking
brush with a little bit of butter, a little dust and flour if you're afraid it's going to stick. If you don't have one, you just got a loaf tin. Works perfectly fine as well.
And is it easy to change it into the shape that you want? Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Well, look.
So literally, if you want, you just kind of fold it over.
I haven't done this before.
You can never tell. You look like such a natural. Mother.
A little roll
What
around.
are you doing
I
to the
need a
man's
bit.
dough?
I think I need flour. Don't
No,
take
no,
it
you
back.
don't. What you need to do is walk away from it. That's what you need to do. Then it'll get better straight away. Watch.
And we got these little moulds here. We're actually going to do little individual ones.
Oh, cute. Okay, we can manage that. Do you want to have a go?
No, I'm enjoying
They're
myself
about
over
75
here.
grams.
Carry on
We'll
there.
pop them to one side.
So is this 75 grams?
Yeah, it is.
go
Yeah,
there.
roughly, yeah.
We won't find out
This is especially for you.
Looks
so.
gorgeous. Dropped in from 6 feet. Just sat beautifully in there.
It's round.
Lovely.
You see, look, I didn't round it up like that.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's
So-
all that's wrong with it.
It'll taste
So we're
gorgeous.
preheating our oven too.
So then they're going to prove again for 2 hours,
Right.
and then we're preheating our oven, which our little hob won't turn on. We're preheating our oven to about 200 degrees.
Okay.
So depending on what size then you bake it, or you shape it to, will dictate the baking time. So
Okay.
obviously it's smaller, it's going to take less. It's bigger, it's going to take more.
Okay.
So for these little guys, about 12 minutes. For probably a bigger loaf, which you're looking about 350, 400 grams, you're looking probably about 25 minutes.
Okay.
Is that loaf that size? When it's
Exactly.
ready?
That's about
Okay.
350 grams, which is exactly what
See
we
how much
have
it
here.
rises.
Look
Look.
at the glaze on top. Isn't it gorgeous?
Clever boy, look at these bad boys.
So if you put the glaze on the top, or do
So
you do that after?
We do that after.
Oh, do you? Okay. Obviously, when it's...
When it's cooked, Laura, yeah.
So just to give a nice little shine to it, we've got our little loaves.
Have you got
Here
50p
you
for the oven? Do you want
Help
me to help?
Patrick there with the...
What I have is I have special
there we
rosary
go.
beads in my pocket. See, just walk towards it and it turns on.
So just for our little glaze then, we're just taking about 30 grams of sugar, about 15 mils of water, just to help melt it and just to dissolve it. And again, we're going to hit it with a good shot of whiskey.
So this is just for the glaze on the top. Do you let it cool down and then pop it on top?
No, we're going to actually do it while it's warm.
Okay.
Because basically then as it's heating, it's going to soak up the syrup. It's going to give that beautiful shine. Basically, it's kind of like brushing it with a hot whiskey. There's a
And
little
also
larger loaves.
it'll sink down in, make it
It'll
really
go right
moist.
through the cake, yeah.
And it just helps to keep it lovely and moist.
I think this is going to be gorgeous. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, as I say,
You
this
can
man can make it
bypass
taste.
the raisins, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I can pick the raisins out.
So we're just going to let that
Did
heat
you put
up.
a ring or a coin in any of them?
Well, I'd love to, especially with selling them in a bakery. I think HSE would have me done.
You know, for us today, though.
No was the answer.
No.
Here, I'll put one in now, will I?
Yeah,
So-
I won't look. Come on.
Once they're baked, this is kind of what we're looking at. So we've got our little small
Beautiful.
individual one,
Look
about
at
350 grams. So
It's
what I'm
the
going to
glaze
do,
on top.
it just gives it a lovely shine.
Yeah, it
Beautiful.
does. Looks so professionally done. I'm
And
sure
again,
ours will turn out the same,
We'll pop
Patrick,
these little
later.
guys to one side. Simon, I'm going to get you to slice into
Sure.
this guy for
Yeah,
me.
bring it over here and I'll slice it up.
Now, would you traditionally
sir.
put some butter on that?
Yeah, a lot of people have it, like it keeps for a couple of days, have it toasted, topped with a little bit of butter, a little bit of homemade jam,
Oh, lovely. There you go. Look, butter and jam.
especially kind of an autumn.
Bad boy.
Patrick, thanks so much. Obviously, you can check out our website, virginmediatelevision.ie/weekendam for that recipe as well. You can call in to Patrick as well, the Firehouse Bakery in Duncan. You can pop in. I'm sure you'd love to see our viewers.
Yeah.
There you go.
That looks amazing.
Isn't that fab?
The glaze on the smell of
After
the
the
glaze.
break, how to prepare your immune system for the long winter ahead. Patrick, thanks so much.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Go for it.